Okay, y'all. So it is telling people, it is telling people that we are live.
Y'all ready? Come through.
Pull
What's
up.
up? Pull up.
Pull up.
I don't ever do this, huh?
What?
You don't ever get online, you said?
I don't really get on live that much because I'm more of a private person. I save it all for the class, you know what I'm saying? I come through live on the class. But I think too it's the Scorpio vibes. You know, I'm Scorpio.
When is your birthday?
My birthday is Saturday. It's November 20th.
Oh, happy early
Yay.
birthday.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
I am going to New York. I'm going to New York to visit my uncle. And I just, it's only 36. I just kind of felt like, I know. It's not that, what they call commemorable age, 40, 45, 50. It's just 36. So,
but it's still a celebration of life.
Right. It's another year more strong.
Yes. So it's always something to celebrate.
Right. You're right. So I'm just doing a little mini chill celebration with my uncle. I just want to be around unconditional love. I want to be around just, my family, like someone that just totally cares about me, like no matter what I do, So that's my uncle. Going up to New York, and we probably gonna just go hang out, see a Broadway play. I want to eat.
Hamilton?
I forgot about Hamilton.
So no.
I know.
I'm like, I didn't know what else was
Hamilton.
playing, but I thought that would be something you'd be into.
But it would have been if I would have remembered. But I think I'm going to see Slave Play. I think that my uncle, because my uncle has his partner, and that's like my uncle too, and so he got the tickets already for Slave Play. But I like serious stuff. I like to be aware.
It's just like
what's going on.
I don't know.
It's a little triggering, but you gotta face the reality.
No, you're right.
So I just like I like things that are informative, somewhat deep. Because I'm deafy.
Because I have
depth. I'm a robust
I like to get
nature.
in here.
Right. And but what I really was kind of sad about is I actually wanted to see Tina Turner musical.
I've heard that.
Because Tina Turner is like one of my all-time favorite artists. Her, Sade, Tony. I love Tony, of course.
Obviously. We'll
right.
get to that.
Okay. And so when I forgot that the musical was going up, and I was like, damn, should have got them tickets. But it's cool. I'll see her another time.
Right. I'm sure she'll be back either
Background.
on this side or it'll come around.
Oh, yeah, it'd be nice if it could come to LA.
Yeah.
And see it there, for sure.
We always get the second dose because, I feel like New York is for that. And then, I think Hamilton finally made its way out here. And,
right.
So it'll come.
Yeah. Hamilton came out through here already?
Yeah.
Dang,
I don't know if it's over, but it definitely has been out here.
Right, okay. True. Well, I'm going to get you when it come back through.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I always get not star, gazed by people, but you do phenomenal work. So I always consider that when I see people their resume, oh dang, they've been in this person head.
Okay.
But before you even get to your clients, look at your hair.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm loving the texture and pattern. What did you use? What can we get into the style?
Okay.
How did you achieve your style?
You know what? I'm gonna just tell the people because people be like, "Oh, what'd you do with your hair?" Da, 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 da. And all my clients want to know for their sons. My son wants his hair like that. Da, da, da. But this is a lifestyle. This is definitely not just a boom boom.
You don't wake up and
right.
be like, I'm
it's
doing that.
It has to be timed. It has to be set. It's so strategic, and I think natural hair, period, is so strategic. That's why most people don't really understand it. They just think it's kind of easier route for their hair without the maintenance, but it's just as much maintenance as anything else.
Oh yeah, it's probably just as much money spent, shop-wise, products, all that.
Right, but my hair is kind of funky, really because of the shape. So the shape just really plays an important part. My girl Tatum, who I've known for many years, she's a barber. She always will kind of just adjust my shape when I can't see what I'm doing in the back. I'll keep it up. I'll do my sides and everything. She just cut my hair yesterday, so I did a 2-strand twist.
Okay.
You can do the 2-strand twist with a lot of different products. But for me, I will blow my hair out dry first. And just kind of get the extension. And some people can do the 2-strand twist just wet. I like mine to like a little more funky.
Right,
so I'll
right.
blow
And
it
the
out.
shrinkage is real when it's on that wet hair.
Right. With the comb attachment.
Right.
I don't know where the comb attachment went. You know, I don't know why people just don't be making the comb attachment no more. Only person I feel like still does the comb attachment is Dyson. It's another one, I forgot. But I will use the comb attachment, blow my hair out. I'll 2-strand it dry. You can use like a pomade. You can use anything that has kind of like a tacky,
like a sticky,
like a
mousse,
tacky,
a setting lotion.
I use a product that is discontinued, so I still can find it. I don't know if I should say it on here, but
people excited.
Okay, the people know it. But honestly, even when I don't have that, you know, and I know it sounds so old school, but you can really use Blue Magic.
No, it's people can get that easily. It's only $3.75.
Yeah, Blue Magic is still the whip. Like, it's something about the grease and the pomade on your strand of hair that protects it and allows it to accumulate length. You know, sometimes we just kind of stick to an oil all the time.
Come on, that's a trade secret.
I'm telling you.
That's a trade secret.
And the oil gets absorbed. You know, it's not really going to sit there for a long time with that barrier on your hair forever.
Right.
So something that's thick, like a grease, like a pomade, you know, will really encapsulate your strand and just protect it so that it can continue to grow. It won't dry out. So my hair is like, you know, fluffy and just
I love
fresh.
it. I noticed it from the minute you walked in. I was like, boom.
Boom.
Besides the other drip that you got on, the hair did play a part in that as well. So
Okay. Thank you. Hey, I feel good. It's birthday to you.
Yes. And what is your passion behind hair? Like, how did you start in the game? Like, what do you feel like resonated with you so much that you were like, I'm going to be a hairstylist. Like, I'm going to, you know, this is my calling.
You know, I'm sure people can agree with me, but anybody that is black, for one, knows the vibe in the salon.
Oh, definitely.
Okay? It's just legendary. Like, when you come into the salon, it's really crazy because everybody going into suites now. I'm in like a suite too, but the vibe of the barbershop and the salon is always just a vibe. So I always liked that. I like the camaraderie between artists. I like the collaborative effort. I like just, you know, being able to have creativity flowing and just get some money that day.
Right,
you know,
right.
Back in the day, we was getting that cash. You know, I remember my aunt was a stylist. Her name was Rashonda. And she owned a salon in East Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, East Side. Okay,
I like that
plug. But you know, she had a shop in East Cleveland, and I used to go there all the time and shampoo for her. I was still in high school. I went to cosmetology program in high school.
Okay,
so
you was ahead of the game before the game.
Right. I don't know if they have a lot of cosmetology programs now. You know, I think they're fading out, which is unfortunate. Because it's good to just have a trade. You know, it's good to have something that you can
foundation.
Right. It's just, you know, something good to have as a skill when you move anywhere instead of having no skill. But I was going to my aunt's salon, and I remember like she would walk around. She would have a clear cape. This is actually before her salon. She was working in another salon when I was little. My mom didn't have a babysitter all the time, so I would go with my mom to the salon. And so, you know, I always be like in grown folk business, you know, going to see what they was doing. They be in there laughing. I'm like,
I want to kiki too.
Right, and they talking about grown folks business, and you know, it just seemed like so fun. But she would have a clear smock, and so in one of the pockets of the smock, she had all this cash in her. You know, she would just walk around with all this money in her pocket. You know, and she'd go to the store. She'd be like, "What you want? You want some ice cream?" She just pull out some money and just get what you want, bread. You know, so I was like, "Damn, that's so cool." And then I remember one time, when I was in high school, I think maybe around sophomore year of high school, I think I was kind of just getting into a little trouble here and there. My mom and her might have had a discussion, and so she felt the need to give me like a intervention type of thing. I had just got my tongue pierced.
Oh, you was out here.
I was like, so she said intervention. And so she took me, I think we went to, she had just moved and she had just kind of got a house in like South Euclid or whatever like that. And she took me to the shop. She had just got the shop. And so, she's like, you can have things like this. You can do things like this. You want to stay focused. You want to be able to have a plan, She said, you see these shoes? She showed me this closet. She had this whole walk-in closet and all these shoes, all these things. And just, showed me a pair of shoes. Like, yeah, I bought these out of Vogue. Just kind of things like that. And she just wanted to inspire me, just inspire me to do something greater or to have, bigger dreams for myself. And so I think cosmetology was given in school, and so I was feeling like I was scared to take cosmetology because I was gay, and I was already getting picked on like crazy in high school. And so it was actually doing hair was the most pivotal moment and decision that I made in my entire life, because it took so much courage for me to do it. And I wanted to get into cosmetology program because it was a safe space. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to walk the hall. I was in there for like 4 or 5 classes. As a junior, you did cosmetology all of the morning time. And then I think as a senior, you did it all of after lunch or whatever. So just having that whole period of not having to walk through the halls, not having to be, like, oh, I'm about to fight. And I think people don't understand because everyone's so cool with being gay now. And everybody's so like out, men like coloring their nails and wearing heels and things like that. And I really couldn't do that.
Right, like be comfortable in that.
Right,
space.
so right. I love people that are doing it now. I'm like, wow, but back in the day when I was in high school, that was not acceptable.
Right.
And in Cleveland especially, very conservative. So, it was like paralyzing to do anything there. Like it was paralyzing, like so much anxiety. So to take the cosmetology program was a big deal. I did it, and
like what you have brought to now.
So that was a great decision I made.
I asked that because you can tell in your work when it's something that you're really passionate about. So I'm like, well, I wonder, what, and that makes sense though. This was a safe place for you. You had been in an environment since you were younger, like you kind of, grown to be now a celebrity hairstylist.
Yeah.
Master celebrity hairstylist.
It's so crazy because when I first moved, I came out to be a celebrity stylist. I came out to Los Angeles to be. I had read in Sophisticate's Black Hair, I think, a long time ago. It might have been Hype Hair too, but it was a long time ago because they always did the artist spotlight. And it was a guy, and I don't even know where he's at now, but he was saying, they asked, what advice would you give to someone who's an aspiring cosmetologist and, would like to do, celebrities and things like that. And so he was like, you have to go to where they are. And so, if you're going to be in South Carolina, like I was, you're just not going to do it. And so it was like, true. You have aha. I mean, it's so simple to know, but it was an aha moment for me. And so at that point, I was like, I have to move, And so that was years before I would actually move. And so even when I got out here, I had a couple lucky breaks. I did basketball reunion show. I think the first season reunion show, I did the hair. I worked with Jennifer Williams. Then I worked with Rosa Acosta for a shoot. I did some stuff with Rolling Out Magazine. And I thought that was it, But it was very much like just a little piece
your feet
of something, right? And so it was so much hoopla, on the scenes. There's a lot of, I feel like, bouginess sometimes, when you work with certain people.
Yes.
And I don't like to be treated as if I'm not an artist, you know, if I, like I'm just, you know, of service.
To be taken serious.
Right.
Yeah.
So I kind of put it down for a minute, and I was like, I'm just going to focus on, you know, hair art. Mm-hmm. Also had dreams of being a platform artist, that kind of thing. And so I really had just put that down, and I wanted to be an artist, you know, and I just kind of felt like was more my lane. And so, but it's so funny because once you kind of leave things alone, they come to get you.
To me, those are confirmations. Like God was like, okay, that was on your heart, and at the time that you need it most, it's going to come back to you,
right.
Even if you leave it alone. So
right.
You're finding yourself, you know, refacing those things again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too, you know, I needed to have a foundation. Mm-hmm. I needed to feed myself. Right. I needed to have a place to live. Mm-hmm. And I needed to work on those things. And so I just gave myself space and time to just work on a clientele, which would give me, you know, steady income, and everything kind of started from that foundation. And just being very consistent. You know, some people, you know, feel like they just gonna blow up, and some people do. But I think when you blow up real fast, you can lose it real fast, or you skip certain things that you should know.
To sustain it.
Right. So what happened with me being in the salon for so many years too in Los Angeles is that I perfected my craft. I perfected my knowledge, my chemistry. I, you know, broke some people's hair off. You know,
unfortunately.
Okay, but no shade. Like, it's gonna happen. All the greats are only great because they made mistakes. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't be great and not willing to take a risk, not willing to take a chance. You know, so you do your best. Right. I'm always doing my best because I want to be able to sleep guilt-free at night. Mm-hmm. You know, so every day I work diligently, I work hard, I study. I still practice. You know, I buy mannequins and practice stuff before I do them. You know, some people don't do that. Yeah. So, you know, I still never really coined the phrase celebrity hairstylist because I felt like, I just did a few. I don't do them on the regular. You know, I do them here and there. I'm really an artist.
I'm a student learning
Right. And I am, you know, I work for a brand, you know what I'm saying? I'm an artist, you know. I'm not a celebrity stylist. Because then the celebrity stylist put you in, you only have something because of someone else.
Right. Okay.
You know?
I understand that. You want something where it's like, I've gained this myself based on my artistry.
Right. So over the years, you know, it's just been that way because, you know, people kind of find an appropriate title for me now. But I still look at myself as just an artist, and I collaborate with other artists, and, you know, we have beautiful work that we get to publicize.
Yes, and when I think of like a artistry in hair specifically, I think of like hair showcasing of like things that you typically wouldn't see in a salon. You remember the barbershop cut with the I won't style.
Oh yes, okay.
So, I know this isn't that. This is like, you know, I think of extravagant things. like is that what your focus was when you speak on like your artistry of hair?
Right.
Was it something like you created masterpieces that we have not really seen before?
I really admire dope artists or hair artists. Like I love Marcia Hamilton. She doesn't have the hype as like a Sassoon, but she's so dope and creative and outside the box. You know, she's really doing great things. And I think artists sometimes have a concentration. I never really wanted to do everything. Like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do lace front, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do blah, blah, blah. And so I feel like sometimes you feed so many things, you don't have enough of one thing.
It's a specialty on like, this is where I focus on.
Right, and so, of course, everyone knows without Sassoon, I loved what he was able to do. I loved that he was, you know, able to just really focus on cut, you know, and cut it's not a lost art, but it's like a dimmed art, you know, and I love cutting. I love holding shears in my hands. I love, you know, moving the hair out and creating like a structure, kind of like sculpture, and shaving off hair to reveal this shape. And I think that that's something so artistic. And I just wanted to always highlight that. So I wanted to go where I could highlight that. And that was, you know, working for a brand, being a platform artist. You know, maybe even 5-6 years ago, there wasn't a lot of people into cut. You know, I mean, everyone wanted the long billowy curls. For me, I thought it wasn't really that, it wasn't creative enough for me to put so much focus on it. I wanted to go where I could be more artistic.
Yeah, so, and where it seems like you're most comfortable, you know?
Right. So everything else just kind of fell into place by itself. I'm good. I practice.
You practice. You are great. When you mentioned also like you wanted to specify in cuts, like you felt that within you. What about color? Because I've noticed you love a blonde.
I love a blonde.
And is there something, what about that color just speaks to you?
I just think blonde is so fly. It's just fly, you know? And it's coveted.
Yes.
You know, everybody can't have it.
Right. Everyone cannot rock it. And do you specify on a specific, are we doing like a Snow White type of thing? Is it like a 613? Like, how depth do you get when it comes, is it shades of blonde?
Yes, it's a lot of different shades of blonde, and that's why I like blonde, because it's not one-dimensional. It's multifaceted. It is very dimensional, and you can have in lows and lights, you know, such a range of it, and I love playing with it. You know, I love putting different arrangements on different people depending on their skin tone, you know, what complements them, what you wearing, like let's tone it out this way, you know, or if you got something special that you're going to do, you know, hair is such an extension of your personal, your personality, your identification. You identify yourself through how you wear your hair. And it speaks a lot about you without saying anything. And so it's always, what do you want to say? And so when you put blonde on, you want to say that I'm ready to be fly. I'm ready to be seen.
Yes.
And I'm just ready to take off.
Period.
You know, I want to change the scope. You know, I want to do something else. I want to blast off. So it's what ship do you want? Do you want to put in a little brown cinnamon honey? You want to do platinum? You know, and platinum, if you want to do platinum, you really, there's going to be some specifications. Okay, it's going to be some cautions, you know, that you need to consider before you want to take that route. So color was always my second love. Cutting is my first. But color, it's like being in a relationship with two people, you know, and so, you know, color always trying to be like, come on back to me. What are you doing over there with cut? You know, and so I'm like, let me come over there again and spend the night and pack a bag, because I'm going to be staying with you for a minute.
But I'll be back.
But color has given me so much, you know, it's given me great opportunities because it's such a rarity to have so much comprehensive knowledge on color. It's chemistry, and cutting is geometry. So knowing both is a win-win. Knowing one is very great.
Come on, chemistry and geometry. Come on.
All my cosmetologies is no, you know, that it very much is that. And color, you know, even when I put it down, you know, I've had some frustrating times with color.
Yeah.
I've had, and I know all stylists have, you know, sometimes where it's unpredictable sometimes. It's not doing what you want. And clients don't understand that. You know, they feel, this is the color I want, you know, and ping, boom, you know, and it's really not like that. I mean, it seems easy if I let you believe that it's easy, but I like explaining the processes so that it can know how difficult it is to get to these ranges. And it's always great when you pop it out, like the first time. The first time to me is like the best new artist.
Yes.
You got best new artist, okay?
Yes.
We seen this blonde, she rocked it out, isn't one a Grammy for Best New Artist. The album is out, it's fire, you know. But now the sophomore album comes out. The sophomore is the retouch.
Yeah.
Okay?
You better break it down.
The sophomore album is the retouch. And the sophomore album from any artist is what determines if they're going to have longevity in this path. On this path, if they're going to have longevity, is the sophomore album. And so when you do that retouch, or you're going to put out your sophomore album, that's what's going to tell you if this is for you or not.
Right.
Because, sometimes people don't make it through their sophomore album.
That's everybody.
Okay? They just get Best New Artist.
Right.
And that's
where it's at.
Okay? So.
Can I bring on Ash real quick? Because you are, educating your clients and you're speaking on color and cut, but you have a mixture right here.
This my sophomore album.
This is not your sophomore album yet. This is still Best New Artist. Okay? But you see the roots is coming in. Okay, I'm just telling people, you gotta be careful. I mean, not careful, but you gotta be comfortable with the root. You gotta be comfortable with your roots. Because you can't retouch it that early. I mean, you can't retouch it that often. You gotta let it get some length. And I'm just really primarily speaking to textured hair. Textured hair, of course, is extremely dry naturally. It's naturally dry. And so it just takes a lot more consideration. It takes a lot more love to even try to turn textured hair into a platinum blonde. Most times, if you want to do something that's smooth and straight, which of course is more fly, it's a longer process and there's more things to be considered. And you have to be okay with being short, because the overlapping from your retouch is going to break down that hair. And so if you make it through your sophomore album, then it's for you. If you don't, then it's not. So to choose another route, you know. But there's so many other colors that are beautiful too. So.
And you break that down in a good way. Like when you educate your clients, do you credit yourself being natural for? Because I feel like you still, even with like weaves and different things, you still consider like that natural, like your basics. You always preach that to your clients. Do you, you being natural, does that help? Does that play a role in that?
What do you mean, like me being natural?
Like you understand the foundation of like having a solid grade of hair, or taking care of that solid grade of hair.
Yeah.
Being able to flourish into trying the different cuts and colors. Like
your texture really determines your road. Just flat out. If you have coily texture, then you are in a whole different category than a lot of other people. And it is synonymous with, I feel like, ethnicity, race, embracing who you are, being okay with your natural beauty, your natural self. If it requires you to have a relaxer because you like more manageability in your life, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Because if you don't know, the relaxer was invented by a black man in 1910. His name was Gary Morgan. And we all adopted this because we wanted manageability. Also, black people are very fly. And so we naturally adapt to whatever flyness is of the times. And if of the times the flyness was straight hair, we're going to do it the best. Yes. Because that's just natural ingenuity that we have in our blood. So when the relaxer came out, it was something that helped us and to be our most presentable selves. And anytime you want to be fly and have manageability, and you apply a relaxer, it is not because you're conforming to some Europeanized ideal of beauty. It is because you want to look of the standard of that whatever time. And in this time, relaxers are actually making a comeback.
Yeah, they are.
And relaxers are for manageability, number one. And so when you see someone who has a straight, natural, their hair is probably natural, coiling, and they have a relaxer, they've chosen to have flyness, in my opinion. They've chosen to adopt manageability in their lifestyle. Right. Anyone who's coily and who's chosen to be natural can understand how difficult it is to accumulate length.
Right.
How difficult it is to keep whatever that, style is fly. Usually you need color. It could be dusty if it's not. And I'm just being blunt, you need some kind of incredible shape, and it has to be maintained and gardened, like maintained in a way that is just neat, clean, for us to recognize it just naturally as, oh, wow, that's beautiful. It's just anything that looks maybe is like in a disarray. Of course, you're not gonna recognize it as that. It's just natural as humans, So when you put things, into form, which is design, you put things into form, then they take on a symmetry, and that's what our brain recognizes as beautiful, because it has a symmetry to it.
Right.
So I don't think there's nothing wrong with no relaxers. I still do them every day, every week, and I think that the natural craze came in. And so then people years later have had that whole lifestyle that they've had to adapt to. And it's difficult for some. It's not difficult for others. Coiling, probably mostly, you have to have some kind of manipulation, 2-strand twist, something to give the texture. I do 2-strand twists on my hair. I do it once a week. I have to maybe leave my twisting for a day, so that they can last a week.
Yes.
So when I take it out, it might be a little boingy now, but it blossoms and blooms throughout the week. Yeah. So that's a behavior that my texture does naturally that I've stepped into. You know what I'm saying? But it's not for everyone.
Right.
And that's not the same lifestyle that someone who has naturally curly hair would adopt. She is better suited for a wash and go. She can put a product in there, she can let it bloom, and it pops up and she has these beautiful ringlets. That's her natural texture. She's embraced that she can, and that's beautiful. As long as it has great shape, great color, it's gonna still make a statement. But, I don't think there's anything wrong with relaxers. I think that, whatever you choose to do with your hair, it really depends on your texture. And that road, is for the individual to decide for themselves.
To understand, like, okay, what is my hair actually doing? I think that's another step as well. Like, they have to know, like you said, my hair requires me to leave this protective styling for this day versus the wash and go girl. So you kind of have to determine, your lineup.
Your lineup and your lifestyle. What do you have time for?
Right.
If you're gonna wake up in the morning and you got all this stuff to do you want to do that, or do you want to have a relaxer? Where you take your thing on. Boom! I'm just saying. It ain't nothing wrong with it. So.
But understand it.
Right.
So let's jump into this.
Okay.
Your relationship with Miss Toni Braxton. How did you obtain her as a client? I'm sure, when someone's in my scalp, I want them to be someone that I'm comfortable going to every week, have a good rapport with.
Right.
So, what is that? How did that come about?
Well, first off, what I can say about Toni is that she's so sweet. She is so sweet. I really have had, a great time with her. I'm always very excited to see her, she's usually very excited to see me. We have a great time. She's funny. She's so funny. So we have a good time, when we work together. It's so funny because, and this story is cool because it's just an example of like, what's for you is for you, and you don't ever have to worry if it's not for you. And you have stages, you have periods, you have time frames, and eras, and things end, and you have new beginnings, whatever. And so it was one time I went home for Christmas, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. I think 3 or 4 years ago. And I got the call from Toni's stylist, Ashli, to do her over the holidays. And I was in Cleveland at the time. And I was just like, dang, I can't do it. And I was so mad because, that particular time, I hadn't really been coming home that much. And so that particular time, I was like, oh, I'm gonna spend a whole bunch of time, there. I'm gonna do I think I was there for 5 days or something like that. And I remember when I got the call, I think I still had 2 more days, and I was so mad because I was like, I shouldn't have stayed this long. I didn't be here with y'all.
I ain't even be here.
Okay. But it is what it is. It happened. I wasn't able to do it. And so my sis, Jasmine, did it, which was great. She did a great job. And Tony was beautiful and whatever. And, it's one of those things because with short hair, you think short hair has these iconic images, and you think like Rihanna, Nia Long, Halle Berry, Toni Braxton, And when I go into different cities and I teach, my Pixie series or like my cutting, I talk about that. I talk about how hair is such a representation of yourself, and anytime you cut your hair off, it can, like, the Pixies are classic, but they're game changers. Because when you want to, cut your hair off, you want to change the game. You pretty much have a new perspective, and people have a new perspective of you when you cut your hair.
Right.
So it's a big deal. And so I go through the history of how synonymous this is with periods and times, and Tony's included in that explanation. So when I got that phone call, I was just like,
Right. Like, dang, this is my opportunity.
Right.
And I'm home.
But, you carry on. You have to cope and keep doing what you're doing and do your best work and keep going on. And so then 3 years later.
3 years later.
I know. 3 years later, I got the phone call again, and I was in town.
How was it going?
And so, and the thing is that, Tony, she's such a big icon. Iconic person. We didn't just go straight into blonde. She wanted to get a feel of me first. Working with her, see if we vibe, and I think we vibed enough. We were working together, maybe a few times before I suggested that she goes blonde.
Because that's a big step. Like you said, you gotta kind of get your feet wet. So for you to just blurt that out, people can instantly like, oh no, that ain't for me.
Right. Well, I knew she wouldn't have accepted that from somebody she just about to work with. Like, oh, you ain't gonna turn me around for the first time. And I didn't even think about it initially. I just thought like, oh, she would be cool to, have, the G touch, which was, just a nice cut and color and style. It's gonna be great. I didn't even think about, taking her blonde initially. I just wanted to make sure I did a good job. And I think I was packing one time, and I was called to do her hair, and I was packing my stuff up to get to her. And I was grabbing everything, and then I was by my colors and stuff, and I had black, I had blonde. And I was like, I'm gonna put this black in here, but I'm gonna put this blonde in there too. I'm gonna just put this blonde in here, just to have it, I don't know. Because I got an inkling. And I was like, should I go on that?
Put that thing.
Okay.
He knew you was packing by the blonde for a reason. He was like, I need him to see this.
Right. He probably did. Of course he did. Because it was an inspiration. It was just something that came. So I went on that. I brought it, and I suggested to her. I just said, I think that blonde is something we've never done before. I think with she said, yeah, we could do it. She had never been blonde before. She'd been red. She had been kind of maybe like a honey with longer hair before, but she hadn't been short blonde. And so she has a really nice texture of hair. Her hair is like a nice silky, just like a loose wave type texture. So I knew that she would do well with having blonde. And so we did the blonde, and it was so crazy because we did the blonde, and she had to get comfortable too. And I always tell people too, when you do a dramatic change, they think like, oh, I'm about to be boom. But sometimes they might see themselves in the mirror and they don't even recognize themselves.
I need to adjust.
Right. Sometimes you need a moment of adjustment. Right. And so some people feel like they about to put all their pictures out the same day, like boom, but they might need a couple days to really adjust to it. So Tony took a minute to just really live in it for a while. I think she wanted to also get opinions from her trusted circle, on if it was going to be a right move for her. So she didn't really debut it until maybe
Twitter work, or just seeing her like in a different state. I was like, dang.
It was like, come through.
She should have been did that.
I know.
It was cute. So I recognize that because I'm like, dang, you look at how you felt in that situation versus like someone else, just me flipping through Instagram and seeing that. But you, like, that was a testament. That was Thanksgiving. Let me let people know like how thankful I was that this experience even like came about.
Yeah, I was very thankful. I'm still thankful.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, that was really iconic. Like
thank you.
And that's why when I see that style, I always think of you. Cut and color always come to mind, specifically blonde.
Okay.
Specifically shortcuts or pixies.
Thank you.
So you are, and when you say the G touch, is that what you're referring to, or is it the whole experience?
I think the G touch is just, my touch. It's just, I put a little G touch on. It's like some salt and pepper.
Right,
you can't have your full blend. You better put a little season on me. You ain't got no G touch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a little salt and pepper on there. You know what I'm saying? You want to put some flavor on it. And so that's what the G touch is basically. And I think Greg Gilmore has really been in a slow cook. I've been in a crock pot for a really long time. This is just the time where, the meal is being served.
It's ready.
Right.
When you come home after 8 hours and you smell it in the house, it's like, oh yeah, this about to be good.
Right. People been smelling that good food cooking for a long time.
But it's your time.
Thinking about it, talking about that roast is about to be done. It's kind of that thing, And so it finally just kind of came out. I've done a lot of different things, but nothing had been noteworthy as much as that went around the world. It was crazy. So.
Right. And just manifesting things where, in 5 years, where would you like to see yourself? Like from blossoming from where you already are to future things that you want for yourself.
Right. Well, I've always kind of wanted to be more in a creative director role. I think that I have a lot of vision, just very creative person. So I would like to be in a position where those things and gifts can be utilized more. Of course, I think that is more so with a brand or some kind of larger entity. And I think that, I have a lot to say, especially about just hair in general. I think that learning the art of real hair is still very important. A lot of cosmetologists would agree that, if you don't have the fundamentals, then you're missing something because people are going to have to wear the real hair eventually.
Or they're going to ask questions, or they want to be educated.
Right. And so, and I don't think there's anything wrong with, everything that's trending right now. You got the baby hairs, you got the lace front wigs that are absolutely beautiful. All of the colors and things that you can do with, commercial hair, commercial extensions, all that stuff is beautiful. However, you just don't want to neglect what you have underneath because, when you look back in history, as Black people too, when we came over from Africa, before we came over to America, when we were in Africa, we had a lot of rituals that we did. We had a lot of, cosmetologists were really known as shamans in our native land, and we were the ones that were privileged enough to touch a person's hair because it was believed that the soul was housed in the hair.
Oh, yes.
And if you received psychic impressions from God, they first came to you through your hair. So you can't really neglect your antenna, and I think that when we first got over to America, we had a lot of, problems with our hair because we worked 7 days a week. We didn't really have time to take care of our hair because our hair requires a lot. And so, you had lice, you had scalp disorders and things like that, but we're such an ingenious people. We would take, silver implement and heat it over the stove and make it a curling iron. Men would have axle grease and put it in their hair to dye their grays and to sleek their hair down because if you didn't have grays, you were still able to work. So I think that us being able to manage our hair and that thing about covering it up, because it's the whole stereotypical thing with the Aunt Jemima covering up your hair because you need to look presentable within certain standards and social graces and that kind of thing. And so, that little child that's always in the class acting out, screaming, being bad, doing a lot of stuff, usually that's the child that needs the most love.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Okay, and I think today sometimes we see that child as black hair because it's acting out, you know, and it's really just saying, look at me. You know, don't forget about me because while you're covering me up all the time, I'm still here.
Right. You just need to learn how to nurture me.
Right. Just like your skin, your health, you exercise, you want to take care of your hair too. Right. So, and your hair is an external indication of things that could be going on with you internally. Right. Whether it's emotional, stress. I mean, I've had people sit in my chair who've never had balding at all, and they might get a little area of alopecia, but it's stress related, you know, and those are just indications of things going on. So hair is so, you know, spiritual too. It's deep. And I just think that in 5 years, I hope I'm in a better position to, you know, make more light of that, to help promote and give out the idea of how beautiful hair can be in its natural state or in its more manageable state. And that kind of thing. I just want to have better opportunities to do that. And to be an artist and express myself.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. You dropped so many gems.
Okay.
What is your exiting motto? Like, you have a billboard and it's signed by you. What is like your mantra that you live by, that you exit?
Well, I think that when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, anything can happen. Because only through feeling good does the walls or the doors and gates open for opportunity. You know, when you're negative, when you feel bad about whatever, things are closed. You're more in a stuck state. I don't know if this is too much.
No.
But I dated a guy, and he's just always so pessimistic. You know, always so Eeyore kind of. Yeah, just like this high here. Oh, we're gonna go or like, I can't be doing all that because I'll be tired. Oh man, I'm just you know. And it reminded me of Cleveland too. Back from where I live at, and you know, Cleveland has come up over the years, but it was a very pessimistic energy, just that permeated the black neighborhood, permeated everyone's thinking, and you know, and it's not just in Cleveland; it's in a lot of places. And it'd be that mantra of like, I'm just making you know, and it's like, or people be like, I'm broke, I can't do all that. And words are so powerful.
Yes.
You know, what you say
will become.
Yes. And so I've stopped saying that I was broke years ago. Like, I just left that on for a couple years. I might say something different, like, you know what, tonight is not the right time. Because
I'm here at this moment.
Right. So I think that when you look good, you feel good.
And it
When
translates.
you feel good, anything can happen.
Oh, right. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. This is the legendary Greg Gilmore. We hope to see you again soon. Thank you for coming to Suite 340, the Hype Hair House, and dropping your knowledge and life on us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So,
that's right, y'all.
Yeah. It's no questions, but we can leave the floor open for questions. Y'all can ask for questions.
You gonna read some questions, Ashley? What's up?
We don't have none just yet. Nobody submitted any, I guess. Everybody is just saying the same thing. They love you.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody know that my word is okay. Because I always like, if you know, people will leave me a comment or they'll say something and I'll be like, okay. But I have to put the question mark in the explanation so they know it's okay.
Yeah, how
it's
you're
not
saying
like,
it.
okay.
Yes.
It's like, okay. So everybody's just probably saying, okay.
But after reading you, I feel like I can't read nothing blandly. Like when I see a reaction from you, it's gotta be like
somebody said any classes coming up.
Any classes? You know, I'm gonna have a lot of classes in 2022. There are a lot of things happening for me in 2022. I'm doing a lot more traveling in 2022, doing a lot more international travel in 2022.
Okay.
I'm about to hit up London, about to see what's up with friends. And so I'm just going to be moving around. I don't have anything that I can say right now, but maybe for New Year's, I have a great new message that I've been dying to share.
Oh, yes.
And I just gotta wait for it.
Right,
Stay posted. Stay tuned. I'm just saying.
Somebody also wants to know, what advice would you give a stylist moving to Socal?
You should try to have like $10,000 saved. And that's no shade. Like everyone's journey is different. And I could only speak from my own experiential knowledge. And I moved to Los Angeles with $3,000, which was, I was just naive. I moved to Los Angeles when I was 24. And I landed October 1st, 2010. I remember that. And because I was trying to go to First Fridays. We had got here on Friday. It was October 1st. I said, it's First Friday. And so, because me and my friend moved out here together. And so, we had been to LA a couple times, already. We had been to First Fridays. And we were just like, oh, we need to make it to First Friday. So, that's why I always remember I got here October 1st. But it was a Friday. But I was so naive. I moved with $3,000. And that $3,000 was gone so quick. LA is very expensive.
About to say, one of the most expensive cities.
I mean, not even just to rent the food.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Things is expensive. So, I would say have as much money that you possibly can have saved, because you might have an idea of something and you will not have, it will not be that. I stayed with extended family that lived in Santa Ana for the first year. So I commuted from Santa Ana all the way to LA the first year every week. It used to cost me, and then I lost my car. So then I would get up at 5:30 in the morning and I wouldn't be able to make it to work until 9:30 every morning. And that's dedication, And I think that when you go through those struggles, they're asking you, are you sure that you want this? It's not just because woe is me. It's just you saying that, yes, I do. Yes, I want this. I don't care. And so I would get, walk a half a mile to my first bus. I would get that bus and go to downtown Santa Ana. Then from Santa Ana, Union Station, I would catch that as a train for an hour all the way to, from Santa Ana to Union Station. And then Union Station, I would get on in Cleveland, we call it the Rapid. But it was actually like the underground train. And I would catch that all the way to Wilshire Western. I would get on the 702, which I think it was the 702.
You was going to Santa Monica?
Huh?
You was going to Santa Monica?
No, to LA. I used to work at Eclectic.
Oh,
There's
see?
a salon called Eclectic. Everybody that's old school.
Everybody knows Eclectic. It's on La Brea and Wilshire.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would be catching the bus there. And the 702 took you down from Western to that part of Wilshire, and I would still be opening up this salon. And Jackie Montero, she was the owner, and she was a very special person that helped me, because she took me, I didn't have no clients, so she took me as a stylist, and I wouldn't be anything in LA if it wasn't for her help. And so she wanted candles lit in the salon every morning, because she was very spiritual as well. And so candles lit signify peace, purity, white candles, that kind of thing. I was an usher boy as a child, so I always
you knew to do it.
Right. And so it's so funny how things follow you. I still like candles, And so I did that, and that struggle was real. I did it for a long time. I finally I was able to afford a room because a guy next to us, named Edward, owned a gym next door to where I used to work as well, Jasmine Ashli. And
I was right there on Wilshire.
I was right there.
All of that is on Wilshire.
Well, not grew up. Been doing hair 18 years, but when I first moved to Los Angeles, that was my spot. La Brea, West LA, right there was my spot. I think right there is RDM and some some other stuff going on now. But I worked with Jasmine at Jasmine Ashli. We had met at the Eclectic before she opened up. Jasmine, I went over to her salon with her, and so there was a guy next door, and his name was Edward. He had a gym, and I just sometimes he would come and give me half of a Subway sandwich, for lunch. And so I'd be like, thank you. He was like, what you doing? Looking in the penny saver for some rims for your car? And I was like, no. I'm looking for my place for sale. Okay. And he was like, oh, I got a little room. You can check it out if you want. It's maybe about $600 a month. And it was like right there in my budget that I could afford a month. This was like early on. This probably had to be like 11 years ago, or maybe 10. And so I went to that room and I lived in that room for 4 years.
Wow. You blossomed in that room.
Wow.
For 4 years. That's deep. But people don't know,
right.
It's a struggle. So I looked up, and I stayed prayed up. And I think everything that I get right now is what I deserve.
What you have put in.
Because I pay my dues.
Right, definitely. Wow.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know I was going to get that deep.
Right. But if y'all need advice about how to move, you have to.
You have, okay, so the next question is, I know classes, but where should we start with classes? And is there any particular class to hone in on your cutting skills professionally? And when are you planning another class? 3 questions.
Right. So I would say, when you get up out of cosmetology school, you need to go straight into an apprenticeship. I don't know why that's so gone now. People just go straight into a suite and start doing sew-ins, But when you go into an apprenticeship, or you work under someone, you bypass all the mistakes because they teach you how not to make those mistakes. You learn how to properly shampoo.
It's like that extra guidance.
It's that extra guidance. You learn how to really deal with a clientele, to deal with customer service, retail, how to suggest the product to a client. And I think that it's very important to have the discipline of how the system works in a salon. What you should give a client and how you should adjust their expectations to the services that they desire, like color or relaxer or what comes with these things. So if you just kind of come out of cosmetology school only learning the basics, because most cosmetology schools only provide the basics, they'll only give you some really basic skills that you can make a living with, like a press and curl. You learn how to lay a relaxer, but you need to take an apprenticeship program and you need to work under a stylist that's skilled, and you need to find a stylist that does what you want to do, so that you can gain that skill. And you need to give that stylist at least a year or 2 of your time. Because if you go to a stylist and say, I want to work under you, and you try to grab everything from them and then leave them after 3 months, that's kind of disrespectful. I feel like, it's just give them time when they give you their time. Because if they got 20 years of experience that you're trying to grab from them in 3 months so that you can go and be this mega star that you feel like you want to be, that's not fair. So I think that's why apprenticeships are still around, that still serve 2 years or still are required a year. And you get paid minimum wage because you have to pay your dues. Everybody
skin in the game. You gotta have skin in the game.
You have some skin in it. Mm-hmm. Very true.
So
apprenticeship. I did a lot of my advanced training with. I did a little bit with Paul Mitchell. I did a little bit with L'Oreal for color. I learned dual coding and how to cancel out things through L'Oreal. And then with Paul Mitchell, I learned some cutting. And then I just took it full force and I went to Vidal Sassoon. So I took, so many courses at Sassoon just trying to be my best self. ABC cut, ABC 2 cut, ABC color, Sassoon blondes. I took the educator's course. I took creative cut twice, and they're very expensive courses, but it is the comprehensive knowledge that you gain to be fully confident in what you're doing. Because so many years in the beginning, I would cut off the cuff. I would be cutting here and just be like,
It wasn't like
it'd be like, and I'd be like, or I could be okay. I'll be in the bathroom like. Y'all come out like, all right, hey, you ready? Like this. But training, taking advanced courses helped me to just have the confidence to just say, yes, I can do that shape. You want that, you got that. You know, and just cut out all the kind of thing, because the first couple of years you'd be terrified sometimes. I mean, I was, you know, to cut somebody's hair. The first time I did a cut on someone, oh my God, I was like trembling in my boots, because you know you are going to change someone's life, you know, in a sense, because they're coming to you to get their hair cut, and you can't ruin their life, and they go outside and they be like looking crazy because you took a chance on some frolic, like, yeah, let me do it kind of thing, you know. You can't play with people's lives. So I was like, let me get my training on. Oh, I could really do this. Plus, I didn't finish college. So because I had to make a decision when I dropped out of Kent State, like, if I'm gonna drop out and I'm gonna pursue hair, then I need to do it I need to be like, you know, all in and be the best and make it my profession, you know. And so because I made that decision is why I went so hard in here, you know, just because I didn't finish college. Yeah.
Another question: what do you think Instagram and YouTube are doing to the industry?
Well, I like Instagram. I mean, you know, Instagram has, you know, put everybody on the map. You know, I think it's funny because back in the day, we had these local magazines. When you put your work in a magazine, you used to pay for a spot. You know, you could have it. I remember, you know, you could have a quarter page. And if you wanted that color, it was $75. If you wanted black and white, it was $50.
Yeah.
Okay, quarter to pay.
Hype here bringing that back, y'all. We're bringing that back.
If you wanted the cover, you had to wait your turn. And there was a lot of people in line for the cover. And the cover was always color. And if you wanted a full page in color, I think that might have been like $500 or something like that. Just to advertise your work, to say like, I'm Tasha, and this is what I do. And on Mondays and Tuesdays, I got rap deals for $50, you know? And this is my work right here, and we fly as hell. You know what I'm saying? And that was like, you know, a Cleveland thing, it was a Detroit thing, you know? And this was before Facebook, you know, before all of that. So really, you know, Facebook came out first. I started putting work on Facebook, and then, you know, Instagram came out, and it turned into this whole thing. YouTube really took it to somewhere else, you know, people were just doing whole tutorials. And I think that it's just, you have to just be careful with YouTube. You pick it up and it's at your own detriment, or it's at your own benefit. You know, there's certain things that you can go on YouTube and find and really learn from, you know, really kind of get sidestep some mistakes from. But because it's such a plethora of different opinions and knowledge and point of views, you have to be careful what you take and what you put back. It's just like regular media in general. You know, you have to be careful what you digest in your own mind. Whatever you feed your mind can be poison or a medicine. So it's up to you to choose what you want to do. Everyone has the freedom of speech. But what will separate the greats and who's not that great is the work. Just look at the work. You know, when you look at the work, even if a person is not formally trained, that's not to say that they haven't spent years and hours practicing, you know? So you look at the work speaks for itself all day. So, but, you know, I say you don't want to knock out professionalism too. So you get professionalism through working in the salon, through working with other professionals.
The stuff that textbook can't teach you.
Right. YouTubers and people who are influencers that don't have a license, they can't really teach you about professionalism. You know, because they may not have had to do that. They may just have had their camera and their whatever they do, and that's it. But they can show you a technique, a trick, you know, something you can put in your arsenal, keep with you, But when you want to be a true professional, you need to be around other professionals.
True. Let's see. How would someone, if they're in San Francisco, take a class with you? Are you offering classes and courses right now?
I have not done a class in San Fran yet. I actually had planned to do it before the pandemic, but that didn't work out because of the pandemic. And so I want to still get up to San Francisco. I love the Bay Area. I like the people out there. Sometimes it's a little sketchy. I have to keep my windows rolled up and keep something going on the safe side. But I love the city. I think San Francisco itself, not just Oakland. I like Oakland because of the vibe. I went to a spoken word in Oakland one time. It just blew my mind. I was there by myself. And then I was sitting here with this girl, and she was like, "Yeah, you'll love here. Did you just move here?" I was like, "No." She was like, "Oh, I did. I got my car busted a couple times, but it's about the I was like,
"Ma'am."
I was like, "Oh, that's cool, but you know what? I'm about to be out. I'm parked down the street." So
to my
okay, to my car. So. But
ma'am.
I'm going through there because I just like my people. Anywhere I go, I love my people. The vibe with my people is just so it's just genuine. Yeah, it's just really nice. I feel so comfortable. It's like walking into a salon and just saying hey to everybody, like, what's up, okay, because that's just how we meet. So yeah, I gotta make it up there to the Bay Area. I'm not sure when yet, but in 2022 I'm definitely gonna make that a possibility.
Minus the car broken in part. We're not doing that.
Right.
You guys are good to rap, but you gotta let everybody know where to find you.
Right. So I'm Greg _Gilmore on IG. I got some stuff on YouTube, but it's not really. I don't really be on YouTube. And Facebook. I don't really be on my Facebook like that. I just be on IG. I started a TikTok just because I like that little girl's voice. When she say, yes, me and Fifi want to do a new formula. I like how she was talking. So I was like, I'm going to make a couple of those. So
That's saved in our stories, too.
So I got on TikTok for her. I wanted her voice on my stuff. And so it's just IG right now. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm downtown Los Angeles. I have not been accepting new clients at the time. And let me clear this.
Yes. Well, come on. Come on.
So, I wish I could take so many people that DM me for appointments. But when you take on a client, you take on that client. Mm-hmm. And so I literally do not have space for the recurring appointments. If I give you some color, you flying, you got this color. Then you gotta have a maintenance on it. I'm not gonna just. I like to say that I do have some integrity, and so I'm going. At least I need to be there for the people I've already said yes to, and they need a spot because they got intricate. I'm talking about intricate processes that sometimes these things. You can't neglect something or forget to rinse something off or whatever. So some of the things are so complicated, I can only take but so much, So I'm thinking about a way to really teach more so that more stylists can do what I do. Not to sound cocky, but
you touch the air.
I want to be able to just give the knowledge more instead of taking more clients. It's exhausting. I've been doing it since I was 15.
Yeah.
So
it's time for a new area. Let's see. Yeah. They understand. I'm letting you know they understand.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it.
AB, you could rap.
But I'm gonna still keep, putting out great work, to inspire people, to, show a level of standard, within the black side of the hair industry. I think it's important to have a standard. To have a comprehensive explanation of how you came to this point. I, lifted this and I did this technique and I did that and I held this out at, such and such angle and blah, blah, blah. And this is how you can recreate that piece of art, So I'm always kind of going for that as well. And I think it requires me to do more education.
Yes.
So that kind of thing too.
We got love from Chicago, love from the UK.
Thank you. Hey, UK. I'm gonna be on my way out there.
He's on his way.
Next year, for sure. London.
Yeah.
I actually love London, so.
Yeah, a little bit. I know you go as deep as you can.
I mean,
I
just
appreciate
said, guys,
yes.
We need it.
Ancestors, I always thank my ancestors.
Yes.
I just forgot that, but I meant to. I always tell my ancestors just come with me when I teach. So a lot of stuff I think is them talking to y'all.
It's always
because
it's really a head to toe experience, and I think you hit all marks. So we are honored that you have graced our.
We are grateful.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks y'all. Thanks for having me.
There will be more. There will be more.
Y'all stay tuned, and thank you for checking out our exclusive conversation.
Right.
Bye.
Save mine.
I'm gonna send you ours. We saved them all.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it says share video if you want to share it. Your first video didn't have sound. It something triggered on your phone.
Oh, because my mom called me.
Oh.